guys, it's Lang from LearnKoreanFun.com, and in this K-drama review, we'll be reviewing Dr. Jin Time Slip, the Korean version. Now, I'm saying the Korean version because a few years back, Jin was originally a Japanese drama, which is based on a Japanese manga. So I personally watched the Japanese version of Jin season 1. I haven't watched the second season of Jin, the Japanese version yet, but in this review, we're going to be reviewing the Korean version of Jin. Now, this is a review of the first episode, and so far, it's very different from the Japanese version, if you guys have already watched it. I don't know if that's a good thing, but for me, I'm a sucker for like time traveling movies, time traveling stories, so I was hooked. But it's just a bit different from the Japanese version. For like, the Japanese version the cinematography is really good. It just makes you like immersed in the story, and it was very, I guess, beautiful. And the writing and the dialogue in the Japanese version just made it like a movie, like you were watching a movie, like episode 1. You know, it was very poetic. In like the first scene in the Japanese version, there's this long like monologue from one of the main characters, and it was, it was like very poetic, and it was like, it made you think about the drama. You're like, what are they talking about? But it was like so deep, while the Korean version is just kind of like, they kind of did that, but it wasn't as long, and it just kind of fell flat. And one thing I want to talk about with the Jin version of the Korean Jin is, did that make sense? Anyways, so in the Korean version of Jin, there's always things that happen that's kind of like universal in all Korean dramas, right? So first off, we have Jin, who has a girlfriend, and his girlfriend is, I guess, let's say, a very goody two-shoes. I wouldn't say goody two-shoes, but I guess she cares for people too much, and she gets so emotional. Like, this girl is emotional. Like, there was one scene in the story, which I guess makes sense. It's kind of setting up everything for the rest of the episodes. But this girl, like, okay, so she volunteers for people who can't pay for medical doctors. So she's a doctor herself. So she's a doctor. Dr. Jin is a doctor. So there are doctors in, not Tokyo, but in, I think, Seoul, in Korea. So she goes and she volunteers for these people who can't afford medical insurance. And this old guy starts to have, I guess, a heart attack or a brain aneurysm or something. And he falls down, and she's like, oh my god, we have to save him, blah, blah, blah. And Dr. Jin is like the super skilled neurosurgeon, right? He could like, go into your brain and like fix it up and stuff. And so she goes up to him, right, while he's like off work. He's in a suit and everything, and like he was supposed to meet her after work, but then this emergency happened. So then she and him are like near the patient, and she's like, you have to save him, you have to save him. This guy, and like, if I was in Dr. Jin's like situation, I'd be like, come on, girl, be professional. Like, we gotta like take our emotions out of this and look at the facts. So Dr. Jin, as any normal person would do, he looks at that patient and he's like, we can't save him. There's like a less than 1% chance. Like, it's too late, And she's like, what do you mean it's too late? How could you say that? And she's like going off at him for no reason. Like, what's wrong with this girl? She's so emotional. Like, for me, I didn't understand that. Like, whoa, calm down, girl. Like, why are you taking it? And he's like, and he was like, his reaction is like a guy's reaction, obviously. He's like thinking logically, and she's thinking like emotionally. So he's like, okay, yeah, we can't save him. And then a few minutes later, after they're talking, another doctor comes and is like, oh, he died. And like, I swear to God, Dr. Jin was about to say I'm right, but the girl was so emotional. So then, okay, so she gets so emotional, so she gets angry at him for no reason. So then they're like talking at the parking lot. Dr. Jin and her are talking in the parking lot, and Dr. Jin was about to propose to her. That's why he was getting off work and he was in the suit. But then the emergency happened. So anyways, she's talking to him like in the parking lot. She's mad at him because like, You know, who do you think you are? You think you're a god? You know, we're doctors. We're supposed to save everyone that we can, you know? We have to take that chance. And he was like, well, you know, we can't save everyone. Like, people that we know that we can't save, you know, there's less of a chance of saving them. So we should take our resources and save the people that we can actually save. And she's like, you're not God, blah, blah, blah. And then she gets in her car and she's angry. She's driving, okay, oh my god, the Korean thing. Korean drama thing. So she's driving on the road. There's always this motorcycle. There's always a motorcycle in Korean dramas that causes accidents. Where do these motorcycles come from, okay? So she's like, it happened in Secret Garden. It's happening in Dr. Jin. So she's driving this motorcycle, you know. Oh, but wait, she doesn't actually hit the motorcycle. She swerves around, okay, and then she stops in the middle of the road. And then I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. This truck out of nowhere smashes her, okay, and then I'm like, oh my god, how they went there. I was laughing. It was supposed to be dramatic, but I was laughing, okay? It was funny. It was so funny. So then she's dying, and he's like, oh my god, you know, well, I'll see you in another life, blah, blah, blah. So that's what happened, and that's what happened in Dr. Jin, okay? And that was just the first, like, 30 minutes or something. And oh, another thing. I'm serious. This girl is so emotional, and well, I wouldn't say she's emotional. She's just, I guess, being their character as a woman. So because there was a scene where Dr. Jin and her were, I guess, in Dr. Jin's office, apartment, and you know they were getting all lovey-dovey and stuff. So then she falls asleep on the couch, right? And then she wakes up, and then she's telling Dr. Jin, very emotionally, like she's opening herself up to him, and she's telling him, like, you know, I was in this dream, you didn't recognize me, I was very sad, I called out to you, but you didn't reply, you know. She was saying all this stuff, right? And I was like, what Dr. Jin said after that, I was like, oh my god, how could you say this to this girl? She's like emotional. You're not supposed to say that. What he said was like, oh well, you know, you were sleeping on the couch. That's why you had a bad dream. Oh, why? If a girl opens up to you like that you shouldn't say that. You should say, like, you know, he should have said, like, you know, baby, you know, I won't leave you, blah blah blah. But I guess the drama didn't want to go there, and in a way, Dr. Jin kind of makes sense. Like, if I was like a typical guy, I would say exactly the same thing. Like, come on, girl, you were just on the couch. That's why you had a bad dream. You're like sleeping uncomfortably, you know. So, anyways, that happens. The same thing kind of happens for a few more minutes, and then so basically, okay, back to the story. So finally, Dr. Jin gets back into the past, right? And what's different from this one, this version of Dr. Jin versus Jin in the Japanese version? Like, this one, I think it focuses too much on the history. I was getting bored in the history parts. They were talking about, like, the Korean, like, people. I don't even know. I can't even remember. All I remember is that at the end of the episode, I think he was about to get his head chopped off, and I guess the mayor of the place had a heart attack, or maybe had a brain aneurysm. So I guess it saved him, because he was like, you know, I could save him. If I can save him, spare my life, type of thing. So yeah, Dr. Jin, very interesting. I'll make an episode of episode 2, a review of episode 2 in the future, and that's what my thoughts. So basically, my thoughts are kind of long video. My thoughts are this. Dr. Jin, it's a different kind of Dr. Jin than the Japanese version. The Japanese version is kind of like a fine wine. The Korean version is kind of like beer. It's fun too, but it's kind of different kind of fun. So that's how I would sum it up. And this is Lang, and be sure to visit us at Learn Korean Fun for more resources about learning Korean and other topics related to Korean.